know what we should do? I'm all about bobbing and weaving and taking advantage of certain situations. The sun's going to come up real quick. We still have a little bit low light in, in this back area. There's a little bit of a breeze. That's always a little plus value. So, I mean, you guys could already seen what the little 2.5 double rig does. There's quite a few boats out here, and there's not a lot of people catching fish right now. A lot has to do with technique, but I'm telling you, the 2.5 is truly a bait that's specific when these fish get targeted. Start targeting these little teeny bait fish. But what we're going to do is we're going to run over here to these walls real quick, and we'll see what happens. We're gonna throw a 6-inch, and then I might even pull out a float and fly, and see if we get a couple other baits going, and we'll play. This is all about fishing. This is all about keeping an open mind and taking advantage of certain opportunities. And I'm telling you what, it's going to be 100 degrees today. It's already 70. The sun just popped up. It's going to be 100, they say, so, and no wind, pulse frontal. So I'm going to do everything I can to take advantage of stuff. Most of the fish have stopped boiling already. I mean, the sun came up and everything has already dropped and gone down. So let's make a little move right over here, and I'll show you how to fish walls with swim baits. And that's, I'm telling you, I'm going to give you some super secret stuff on that, because to this day still nobody fishes walls the right way. Let's just take a little drive right over here. But what we're doing is we're going to come over these walls. We already know that 2.5 works, but I'm going to show you how to throw a 6-inch. Now, this is good for the 6-inch or the 8-inch, any type of swim bait, on steep walls, cut banks. The biggest thing is creating a funnel, is getting it close enough to the structure to get the fish to commit. A lot of times if you're off by a foot, you'll get followers. You won't get people, fish to commit it. So I'm going to show you how close I usually get my boat to a wall. And a floating bait and a slow sink, I'll usually never use a fast sink when I'm fishing skinny water, even though it might be 40 feet straight underneath the bank, but I'm fishing right against it, doing the Spider-Man, creeping that bait against the walls. That's different. Now, if I got fish on a deep cut and they're stationed, they're sitting up deeper, I'll either let the slow sink fall, or I'll get a fast sink and work those depths. But I usually start off with a top water or slow sink right off the bat. The biggest key is how close can you get without destroying your baits. And I'll go through some baits to get there, because you're not going to get bit on some of these lakes if you're off. Here's how critical it is. There's 2 strike zones here. There's one on this little cut on this point, and you have the second one. This is how close you have to get. You have to get that close to the bank, and I'm paralleling that shore. And as I come in, you could actually see the bait come right up to this point right here, and I'll do a directional change. I'll do a directional change right there, and that's where usually you get bit. Most guys will throw 4 or 5 feet off to the side of it, or they'll try to throw past this one spot, which can produce a 10-pounder, by just throwing to that one and miss this key one. So you got to really pay attention to every little spot that can produce a funnel. You got to fish it, and you got to be far enough back too, so you can actually have some room to play with. We left fishing the 8-inch BBZ1 off the early morning point. We went back in the back of a cove. We saw some fish bust in, but you always got to pick up a 6-inch bait and try it. You never know what they're going to hit. The gear for today is I'm using the new Lamiglass XL series. I helped design this rod. This is a great rod. What it is basically how I built it. I built it with a little bit longer handle than a flipping stick and a little shorter than a big bait rod. What that does, it gives you the capability to do multiple techniques with this. I'm a firm believer on the cradle, If you throw this bait out and you cradle the rod, what you want to do is you cradle the reel and you put your hands in front of it. What that does, it positions this handle right here behind your elbow, okay? And you lock that into your side. That way you can reel it super slow. If you do get a hit and you sweep and do a reel set, the butt of the handle right here will not come past your hand. It will not come past the side of your body or your elbow. That's a key thing. The biggest problem is when you start using smaller baits, the 6-inch Spro BBZ1, even a 4-inch shad and heavy cover if you wanted to use braid or something. The problem is if the rod handle's too long, when you do a rip or a directional change, this reel handle will get caught in your sleeve or it'll get caught up underneath your armpit. So what happens is I shortened it up a little bit. That way you can reposition your hand and bring it back over to the trigger position. You hold it just like a regular rod, and what happens, it rotates the handle up. If I'm doing it left-handed, it rotates the handle up. So that way I'm allowed to twitch this bait without this handle hitting my forearm. It gives a better follow through, it gives better directional change with these swim baits. Key thing, technique is the key when you're fishing these baits. Paired up with the Shimano Chronarch 100, and there's a lot of brush in the lake. I'm beefing it up. I'm going 15 to 18 pound test Maxima Ultra Green. You can use braid on it, but I feel in this situation I'm just going to go with the mono. Never had problems with the 18 pound test. If we were in super heavy cover or I was doing really long casts, I'd bump it up to 10-12 Power Pro. But great system. Check out these rods at tacklewarehouse.com. I'm telling you, this is a neat little system that you could use. You can also throw frogs on it and flip and pitch with it. So take a look at it here at tacklewarehouse.com, and we'll see you on the water. The float and fly, basically a bobber and a crappie jig. I designed a doll hair jig for Spro about 4 or 5 years ago. By far, one of the best doll hair jigs you'll ever find on the market.